was like the rich profit off of war. It's like I don't think the sequel era's vision of the Star Wars galaxy was established enough, kind of like the prequels, for you to have this kind of commentary. It kind of feels like it came out of nowhere, and I'm like, bro, I don't even know who the government is currently in this galaxy. Like, why are all these people rich, you know? So I thought that kind of fell flat. I thought some of the humor didn't quite work that well. Others did. I thought Luke was pretty great. But all the stuff with Luke Skywalker I thought was fantastic. All the stuff with Kylo Ren was fantastic. And the ending was great. And then sadly, whatever they call it, the rise of P. The rise of P threw it all away. They were clearly setting up the fall of the Jedi and the Sith and the distribution of the Force to just people. And look what Rebecca has. So she got really obsessed with Baby Yoda, and we were able to find one at Walmart, and she made Baby Yoda beautiful. Yeah, so here's Baby Yoda. She also did the nails. She had a lot of fun doing that. No, Luke was completely ruined. I don't think he was ruined. It's not the direction I would have taken Luke in, but it is interesting that, like, in the original trilogy, upon rewatching them, Luke is, like, a fairly dark person. Baby soda. Soda! Obama! Luke is like a fairly dark person, and he almost kills his father in like an angry rage and like hacks off his father's arm. And he definitely still was able to turn to the light, but like the thing about like anger and like trauma and like that kind of stuff, on top of the fact that like, no, he's too old. Like, Luke was never gonna be the ultimate Jedi. You know, there's just too much raw emotion in him. And so I like the idea of him idealizing, based off of like Yoda and Obi-Wan, the prequel era Jedi who were inherently flawed and objectively led to the fall of the Republic and the rise of Darth Vader. Like, the Jedi Order sucked. And so the fact that Luke Skywalker was like, I want to do what those guys did. And it blew up in his face, and one of his pupils became like this, like very like dangerous dark side wielder. I'm like, yeah, I guess I can kind of see how it would have gone that way.
Miners?
What the fuck?
Yeah, and so the idea of like Luke just being like, screw all of this, like this cycle of just like Sith versus Jedi, like none of these institutions knew what they were doing.
I'm my teammate. Hey, Teabag Kleck.
And him just trying to basically like bury the Jedi with himself.
Yeah, that Kleck.
Like I totally get that.
Yeah,
and then I like the idea of like Yoda coming back one last time to teach him, and like remember what was it that Yoda said?
He's kind of a loser.
Well, they were burning.
Every time Kleck farts, he pushes out a condom.
Burning the Jedi, the first Jedi temple.
Oh yeah, in the beginning.
The Jedi texts Yoda was like. Yeah, Yoda basically implies he didn't even read them because they're just like stupid religious dogma. And he like said like she was going to become the best of them all because she was going to learn from their failures. And it's like, yeah, Rey was probably going to set up like a new generation of Force users that were kind of unblemished by the problems of the Jedi Temple and Jedi Council and even like the Sith, you know, and the Rule of Two and how just inherently problematic that is for long-term sustainability.
Oh my god, kill the Gazog! Thank you. He's still not dead.
Yeah, so The Last Jedi, there was a lot of really good stuff in there.
Kill that subhuman Kleck.
Ah, page turners. They were
one. Pieces of shit.
Yeah, like Luke was kind of stupid, you know. Mace Windu didn't know what he was doing.
What the fuck? What?
I'm getting teabagged on the helicopter pad. Thank you.
Boy. The Last Jedi is far from my favorite Star Wars movie, but I respect what it wanted to be. That's a pretty good take. That's a pretty good take. I think Rian Johnson had a lot to say about Star Wars and his views on Star Wars, and I think that his views on Star Wars are very interesting. It's not necessarily what I would have done with Luke Skywalker, but I can see how he arrived at that conclusion for Luke's character. And minus some of the dumb stuff in that movie. Overall, I was like, man, Rian Johnson really liked Star Wars. That's what I walked away from that movie with. So all the, like, weirdos who are, like, frothing at the mouth and, like, screaming for the head of Rian Johnson, I'm like, y'all have problems, man. Mace is not a good example of the Jedi. I believe it's Qui-Gon. Well, I think the reason Qui-Gon is the best example of a Jedi is because he doesn't like the Jedi. And he goes out of his way to not follow Jedi teachings. Like, Qui-Gon Jinn is, like, he very clearly, like, thought that the Jedi Order was inherently problematic with its, like, focus on, like, no emotions, no connections to anything. You need to be, like, a weirdo hermit that doesn't have, like, any interests outside of being emotionless.
Shadowblade.
Like, Qui-Gon believed in, like, passion and, like, beauty and, like, fun, as well as, you know, like, coming to terms with your emotions and feeling grief and loss and sadness.
Shoot him, he slipped over, shoot him.
You know, and it is very interesting, the parallels between Luke's confrontation with Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi with how Luke reacted to Kylo Ren. Like, that same darkness that propelled him to flip his shit and nearly kill his dad like a wild animal, that, like, in just, like, a moment of fear of sensing that same kind of, like, evil within his nephew, it got him that scared. When all he needed to do was talk to his nephew.
Gotta squeeze those hogs, man.
Squeeze them hard?
You know, like, just that moment of failure, it was like...
Yeah, squeeze them hard.
I see what Rian Johnson did. That's kind of interesting.
Until they come.
Oh. You're a little...
And then it's also pretty cool that at the end of the movie, he force projects himself confronting Kylo Ren, and he doesn't touch him once with a lightsaber. He basically lets Kylo Ren, like, vent all of his anger and energy on him without ever touching him, which is super,
Dude, my cock's so big.
Is it?
And he also presented himself with the same haircut, clothes, and, like, age of the night that he failed
what my bathroom looks like.
I'm like, that's pretty cool. And yeah, good movie. It's pretty good.
You see a picture of my house?
I don't think it ruins Star Wars. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
If I can survive Hayden Christensen rambling incoherently about liking sand to Natalie Portman, who looks uncomfortable and wants to leave, I think I can handle some misfiring attempts at humor in The Last Jedi and a pretty pointless casino sequence.
You missed me, bitch race.
It's a shame Luke learns, then dies, but death in Star Wars is kind of meaningless anyway.
Oh, I almost killed Michael.
Ridiculous.
I see it more as like Luke definitely like learns, but it's also just kind of like Luke was at the end of his life anyway, and I think it made for a beautiful scene. And I am willing to bet that if Rian Johnson did do another one, it would have been super cool if Kylo Ren was haunted by the ghost of Luke Skywalker.
Michael, how much do you weigh?
Ghost. Almost like a weird twisted inverse of the Ben Kenobi. Like Obi-Wan's ghost, like, assisting Luke.
About 7 too.
Holy shit.
You know, it's kind of like you want the help of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and so Luke
You
talks to his
fucking
Force
mammoth.
Ghost, but in this case, Kylo Ren is trying desperately to not give in to his good side, and he's being, like, haunted by the ghost of Luke. You know, I
do
thought
you
that's
do
what was
for,
going to happen, especially
work with
after
that
Luke
big
was like,
old
"See
body
you
of
around,
yours?"
kid." I was like, whew. Have you watched the Alien movies? I've watched Alien
Basketball
1 and
player,
2.
man.
Did not watch Alien
yeah.
3 because I didn't have really any interest.
Clear.
But Rise of Skywalker ruined Star Wars more than Last Jedi. Well, I'd never say that Star Wars is completely ruined, just because like Star Wars has been
you any
ruined
good?
so many times over. But definitely, I think that Rise of Skywalker undermined some of what, well, most of what The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi had set up, and ultimately retroactively makes it a less coherent.
Alright, we're gonna come
trilogy.
back, alright? Where are we allowed to come? When we come back.
I'm just like Yao Ming, you know?
You've seen Andor, right? No,
I never met a Chinese.
we couldn't even
Michael.
get through the
Well, yeah, I
second
have.
season of Mandalorian. We just kind of lost interest. But, you know what would be a lot of fun? Community game night.
You might need to lose
Yeah, you
some
want
weight.
community game night, babe? Okay, guys, after this match, we're going to do community game night with everyone. This is not going to be the Star Wars hour, okay?
Yeah, Michael, fucking lose it, man.
Yeah? You're tired of the Star Wars talk? Alright. How are your challenges looking?
Pretty good.
Are we going to be able to get you this red sniper? Or do you not care too much?
Of course I do.
Yeah? Alright. Yeah, this is one of the good maps for squad battle and stuff. It would be